turn off the lights as well as all electronic devices.
Yeah, no.
You must not carry anything except a watch. Carrying anything of power or protection is prohibited in this game.
Wait, so you have to have a watch?
Yes.
Okay.
Again, not... Okay.
Well, you don't have to have the watch. Just a watch is all you can carry that has electronics. Now...
Just so you can see the time.
You count to the number 13 and you sit down before a corded telephone and then you dial a number. Now, I'm not going to give that number out because, frankly, I don't want anybody doing this.
Yeah, no.
But if you really insist on trying, it's all over the internet. All you gotta do is look. But I will not be giving this information out.
Yeah, no, we do not want our listeners to get hurt and us to be blamed for it. Because we did warn you before we started this.
Now...
Darn it. I've been really funny this week for you guys who haven't known. But then today, while we're doing our episode, I'm just like, where did that go? All down the drain? Like, what?
You're fine, Krista.
We still think you're funny.
No.
And you're awful cute.
Why, thank you.
You're going to tie a black cord onto the telephone's handset and then dial a different number. Once you have dialed that number, you're going to count to 13, and you're going to say, hello, I need a cab. Now, you untie the cord from the handset, tie a second one on the handset, and burn the first one immediately. Then you look outside. Supposedly, at this point, you will see a black taxi cab parked outside your home.
And where do these legends come from? Do we get to that point? Because...
I will discuss them where I have been able to find them.
Okay.
Now, when you see the black taxi cab parked outside your home, you're going to exit the building, but you're going to make sure you lock your doors behind you, and then you're going to take a seat in the back seat of the cab. When you get in the cab, you're going to be given a key. You lock that door with the key they give you, and you go to sleep. After you're going to wake up in a little while, you check your watch. If your watch reads any time other than 3:30, get out of the cab, go home, and end the ritual.
That's what I would do.
Which is probably the best advice so far.
Go home. Okay?
If your watch reads 3:30, go back to sleep. Now, when you wake up for the second time, you'll find the cab to be driving on a highway of another world with a paranormal man wearing a hood. Do not show any fear, and do not attempt to get out of the cab while it's moving. End your ride as soon as possible by leaning close to the hooded man's ear and whisper the following words. I have reached my destination. Now go back to sleep one last time, and when you wake up, you will have returned to your home. And then once you're done with the ritual, you call yet another number and say thank you for the ride, and then you burn the second cord.
Good idea. I want to burn the whole thing.
If anybody else gets in the cab while you're on your ride, do not look at them, do not speak to them.
So I want to know where this comes from.
Well, I have some theories on that. Now, this one specifically, I honestly think... Okay, I have said multiple times, many ways, but I've said that I think there are levels to reality. And I think this is a way that people get to one of those levels. Or people step into another world. Either way, The admonitions remind me strongly of like people that would go and visit the Fae. Or like old Chinese stories of people going to other worlds. That it was vitally important that you not talk to creatures that dwelt in those worlds because you could become trapped there.
Right.
So, and this one, as well as the elevator ritual, both come, as far as we know, from East Asian countries. So, there's certainly some of that to it. Now, the elevator game, there may be even more than that, but we will discuss that later. Like I said, for me, though, the thing on this one is that it's dangerous. Now, I have heard in some, depending on what you read and where you read, the town you'll drive in will look a lot like your own, except for a giant red cross in the distance.
Gotcha.
Or a giant red X, depending on the literature you read. Which is, we'll meet this again in another game, but that's only according to some stories. Other stories, it's completely different. It's an alien world. But I have found some stories from people who claim to have done this successfully.
Mm-hmm.
One person claimed that they no longer had any control in their life, that anything that they had tried to do ended in failure or disaster, that they see shadows that move on their own all the time, that anytime they look in the mirror, they see a tall figure like trying to hide, and if they stare at it for too long, it dissolves and you think you just imagined it, but it's always there every time you look in the mirror. And
so, like, you're telling me every time she cooks food, she, like, burns it or something? Or they?
I don't know. There's no details. I'm just saying that they say that everything they do ends up in disaster.
Oh. Oof.
And the person was afraid they were going to delete the entire story off of where it was posted against their will. Which is another thing fairly common with these otherworld stories, is a certain sense of being taken over, a certain sense of no longer having control of your thoughts, your actions, your ideals.
Gotcha.
Be safe, kids.
Someone else who claimed to do it said that whenever they opened their window, they saw the hooded man just staring up at them, smiling. Like he had the hood rolled up so that they could see the smile. And even when his hood wasn't rolled up, somehow they knew he was smiling. And that they'd close their eyes, and sometimes he'd be gone at the end of it, sometimes he wouldn't. And like they made excuses to have friends come over and spend the night because they couldn't.
Why ask questions? Just okay.
But that's the whole thing that goes back to the whole we don't mess with crap like that.
Right.
So that is the hooded man game. Now, it certainly seems to be tied to something called the elevator to another world. Now, if you are any bit interested in true crime or the paranormal, you've probably heard about the elevator to another world game, because Eliza Lamb, who disappeared, from the Cecil Hotel and was found in one of the water cisterns on top of the hotel, supposedly was playing the game. Supposedly. I don't know. We're not going to talk about it now. Elisa Lam and the Cecil Hotel will probably be topics coming up, but if we're going to do the whole Elisa Lam story, I would like to do it a little more prepared than I am right now. She was a real person. Her family, most of them are still alive. They do not need to have an endless army of weirdo podcasters injecting stories into what happened to their daughter. They know the truth. They lost her, and that's enough. And I feel for them. That puts a hole in your heart that there is no fixing.
Absolutely.
Right. You cannot lose someone and then have them back again. That is not how it works. If they're gone.
So, Elevator to Another World is yet another game to play that's supposed to take you to another world. You need a building that's at least 10 stories tall and has at least one elevator in it. Without those things, you cannot proceed.
Cool.
Now,
Don't.
There are differing opinions whether you can do it by yourself or with somebody. Whatever you decide to do, if you decide to play with 2 people, the same 2 people have to play the whole game the whole time. Otherwise, you have to start all over. If you're playing by yourself and someone you don't know gets on the elevator, like just a normal schmo, guess what? You have to start all over. Which is going to make that difficult. Now, when to begin the game, you get in the elevator from the first floor by yourself. This is one of the few times I will mention what floor you go to or you're on. Because again, I do not want to give enough information that someone could play the game just by listening to our podcast. People have disappeared and gotten injured playing this game.
Yeah, bad. No.
So, you get on the 4th floor. When you press the button to get to your next floor, when you get there, you don't get out. You press a button to go to a new floor. Then you go to that floor. You don't get out. You press the button for the next floor you need to go to. Now, if at any point someone gets on the elevator with you, at this point, you got to start all over. Go back to the first floor, start all over. So, now you're going to from there, you're going to go to the 4th floor that you need to go to, not the 4th floor. And again, you're going to stay on the elevator at that point. And you're going to push a button for yet another floor. Now, at this point, people have reported hearing a voice calling to them. Do not respond. Don't respond. Do not.
Yes. Don't
do it. Just don't do it. Okay. All right.
Don't need to question us about it. Just don't do it.
Now, again, when you get to this floor, you're not getting off. You're going to press the button for the 5th floor. And this time, I'm actually telling you the floor you're going to, the 5th floor. But there's a reason I'm telling you, because it becomes important. When you get to the 5th floor, some people have reported that a woman will get on the elevator on that floor. She's been described varying ways, from hideous to beautiful. But whatever the case, she will try to engage with you. Do not engage with her. Do not speak to her. Do not look at her. Any of this would be bad. Do not acknowledge her in any way.
Okay.
Now you're going to press the button to go to the 1st floor. But if you've done it right, instead of going to the 1st floor, it's going to go up to the 10th floor. Welcome to the other world.
I see.
Now, if you are brave and want to step out and look out a window, you're going to see what looks like your town followed after some kind of disaster. And again, according to some people, you'll see a red cross or a red X in the distance. Now, as if you get off on the 10th floor, if you were brave and want to get off on the 10th floor. Couple things. One, it is said that the other world is